Coming up tonight on YCN News, New Hampshire state and local police continue their focus on a shooting at 146 Laurel Street in Newport yesterday night. The Hanover branch of the League of New Hampshire Craftsmen will receive $1,875 to continue its RTC Experiential Outreach Program. And we'll continue our series with the kids at White River Junction's CATV Summer Video Camp. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening and welcome to this Friday edition of YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. New Hampshire state and local police continued their focus this afternoon on a shooting at 146 Laurel Street yesterday night. Laurel Street runs off South Main Street. A 911 dispatcher took the 8:15 p.m. call that someone at that residence had been shot. The unidentified person who was shot was treated at the scene last night by a Newport ambulance service crew. The person, police also are not releasing the victim's gender, was taken by DART helicopter to the Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center in Lebanon. Sullivan County Attorney Mark Hathaway worked with state police detectives reviewing the matter. They were not available for any interviews this afternoon. The condition of the victim remains unknown. There is no threat to public safety. The New Hampshire Attorney General's office also is investigating the shooting and its circumstances. A 14-year-old Randolph Center, Vermont teen was severely injured yesterday when struck by a car. Vermont State Police rushed to the scene on Route 14 South in East Randolph to aid Zachary Paroline. He was rushed to Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center in Lebanon, New Hampshire, to be treated for severe head trauma and other injuries. After an initial investigation, police believe that the teen went to retrieve mail from his family's mailbox when he was struck by the 2005 Cadillac CTS driven by Katie Boulay. The vehicle sustained front end and hood damage. Paroline allegedly left the passenger side of a vehicle and ran around the back of the parked vehicle and into the street. Boulay was unaware of this and struck him with the vehicle before she could react. A deeper investigation is commencing at this time. A 23-year-old Rutland, Vermont man will spend the next 5 years in federal prison following his conviction on a charge of conspiracy to sell drugs. Evan Murphy pleaded guilty this week to the charge to distribute 100 grams or more of heroin. Murphy was sentenced in court by Chief United States District Judge Christina Reese. Reese also ordered Murphy to serve 4 years supervised release when he gets out of prison. Several other defendants also pleaded guilty to charges of conspiracy to distribute 100 grams or more of heroin. According to court documents from January to November 2012, Murphy trafficked between 400 and 700 grams of heroin in the Rutland area. In July 2012, the court filings note Murphy began selling heroin supplied by New York residents 21-year-old Joshua Rose, 29-year-old Devin Cruz, and 23-year-old Charles Hercules. For 3 months in the summer and fall of 2012, members of the Vermont Drug Task Force used a confidential informant to make 3 controlled buys of heroin from Murphy in Rutland. In November 2012, Murphy was incarcerated for an unrelated state offense. This imprisonment ended his heroin sales. On July 24, 2013, based on a joint investigation by the Vermont Drug Task Force, the Drug Enforcement Administration, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the grand jury returned an indictment charging Murphy, Rose, Cruz, Hercules, and 42-year-old Alan Willis of Tinmouth and 47-year-old Jean Marie Phillips of Rutland with conspiracy to distribute 100 grams or more of heroin. All of the defendants have entered guilty pleas to the conspiracy charge, except Phillips, court officials say in a press release. Phillips pleaded guilty to aiding and abetting Rose's possession with intent to distribute heroin. Federal prison sentences were decided by a federal judge this spring. Willis will serve at least 3 years and Phillips 13 months. Rose, Cruz, and Hercules are scheduled for sentencing over the next 2 months. In other New Hampshire news, please tune in for our special 30-minute program examining issues related to the proposed West Bowl expansion at Mount Sunapee. This special news feature will air on Monday during YCN News broadcasts. A popular Upper Valley arts organization is one of 6 New Hampshire nonprofit groups recognized by the State Council on the Arts. The Hanover branch of the League of New Hampshire Craftsmen will receive $1,875 to continue its RTC Experiential Outreach Program. This program brings 2- and 3-dimensional art principles and supplies to patients at health facilities throughout the Upper Valley. Support groups for families of patients also participate in the workshops, which involves working with clay, metals, and mixed media. All of the proposed arts and healthcare programs will be completed throughout the coming year. Members of the state's Arts Council reviewed grant applications and selected the Hanover Arts Group along with the 5 other sites. The Division of the Arts is a publicly funded agency within the New Hampshire Department of Cultural Resources. Funding comes from state appropriations, the National Endowment for the Arts, and the Conservation License Plate Fund. Learn more at nh.gov/nharts. When YCN News returns, we'll continue our series with the kids from White River Junction's CATV Summer Video Camp. And then we'll hear about a special jazz concert coming up in Cornish, New Hampshire.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Let's return to our video series from White River Junction, brought to you by the kids of CATV Summer Video Camp. Today's topic is dress codes. Should they be enforced? Will it cost more money for parents? Let's find out.
As the school year looms ahead, people are starting to think about what to wear and the dress code.
I really don't have any issues with it. I think that people have plenty of freedom of expression outside of school, and that having some kind of a dress code brings a sense of unity to any kind of environment.
Though many people are in support of having a dress code, some people have concerns about elements of dress codes at local schools.
Also, it can be hard to find clothes in stores that fit the dress code.
Lots of families are going to have trouble because a lot of their kids, it's clothes, they can't wear them to school anymore, and so that's going to be really expensive for some families. I think part of the issue is that it's almost impossible to buy girls' clothing that meets the dress code at Thetford Academy.
At local schools such as Thetford Academy and Heartland Elementary, there is a rule that a garment has to be no shorter than halfway up your leg from your knee.
Most places don't sell shorts that long for girls, especially for gym.
There is also a question of whether boys and girls are treated equally in terms of the dress code.
Yeah, girls are definitely under the microscope more than guys are. Like guys, I don't know. Guys pretty much wear like shorts and a t-shirt, like casual stuff. And I don't know, like girls can wear casual stuff too, but like it's just a lot more under skepticism.
I feel like there are more clothes that expose more for girls than there are that expose more for boys.
I guess to the extent of girls wearing, because of they may show more skin, that gets them into trouble. I think my son, we've had issues maybe with his muscle shirts though, so that's sort of equivalent. Haven't really thought about it, but now that I'm a 9-year-old getting older, I probably will. And, I could imagine that could be a problem.
School dress codes are a controversial topic and affect many people.
There is no set solution to this issue, so conversations about the dress code will continue for years to come.
With CATV Video Camp, we're Sophie,
Claire,
Sydney,
And Jack.
Mark your calendars for Sunday, August 31st. A jazz concert is scheduled at St. Gaudens National Historic Site in Cornish, New Hampshire. The trio, known as Jazz Trio Now, will play selections from renowned composers and is made up of performers Steve Hunt, Bruce Gertz, and vocalist Donna McElroy. This is the final concert of the 2014 St. Gaudens Summer Concert Series. Be sure to come out for an afternoon of classical, jazz, ethnic, and musical theater. The concert is set to begin at 2 p.m. and is free with the price of admission. To learn more, visit nps.gov/SAGA. When YCN News returns, we'll join Kearsarge Chronicles' Sean Bowman, who met with Dr. Diane Sleesman to talk about dogs and potential swimming infections.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Now Matt McDonald will have a look at our weather for the next few days and then move on to sports.
Thanks, Rose. Tonight we'll have patchy fog after 3 a.m. with otherwise partly cloudy skies and lows in the 50s. Tomorrow morning will be foggy before 9 a.m. Then we'll have partly sunny skies with highs in the 70s and winds up to 10 miles per hour. Saturday night will be mostly cloudy with lows in the 60s and winds around 5 miles per hour. Sunday will have a 40% chance of rain after 9 a.m. with cloudy skies and a high of 82 degrees. Sunday night will have a 70% chance of rain after 9 p.m. with mostly cloudy skies and lows in the 60s. As you can see here, there are storms out west that are expected to reach us by Saturday or Sunday. And now let's see what's coming up on our community calendar. Tomorrow is the Market Madness Street Festival in Springfield, Vermont on Main Street starting at 10 a.m. And the Cornish and Norwich Farmers Markets will begin at 9 a.m. Remember, you can submit local events from your community by sending them to news@ycnnow.com. And now it's time to find out how the New Hampshire Fisher Cats did last night. Well, sadly, the Fisher Cats lost their 3-game series with Harrisburg. On Tuesday, they were victorious with a 6-4 win. On Wednesday, they fell 9-6. And last night, they suffered a 9-3 loss. This was the last home game for the Fisher Cats this season. Tonight, another series will begin with New Britain, starting at 7:05 p.m.
Thanks, Matt. When YCN News continues, I'll sit down with Lisa Connell for this week's News in Review.
The YCN News continues in a moment.